200,000 warriors stood frozen, waiting. The fate of kingdoms hung in the air. But in that chariot between those two men, something bigger than war was about to begin. Something that would reach across 5,000 years to touch you, right now, in whatever crisis you're facing. Arjuna sat broken, the greatest archer who had never known defeat, defeated by a single question. How do I fight when fighting destroys everyone I love? Have you ever been there? When every option feels like betrayal. When doing what's right means becoming someone you can't recognize. Krishna looked at his friend. And here's what people don't understand about wisdom. It doesn't rush in with answers. It waits. It watches. It lets you feel the full weight of your confusion. Because only when you've truly admitted, I don't know, can you become ready to learn something that transforms everything. And then Krishna spoke, his first words, not what anyone expected. Not, be strong. Not, do your duty. Not, fight for righteousness. Instead, he said something that sounded almost cruel in its honesty. Something that cut through 5,000 years of philosophy to name the exact mistake we all make when we're suffering. You grieve for those who should not be grieved for. The words hit Arjuna like a physical blow. His chest tightened. What does that even mean? And yet you speak words of wisdom. The wise grieve neither for the living nor for the dead. Think about that. Krishna didn't comfort Arjuna, he challenged him. Your pain is real, but your understanding is wrong. Arjuna looked up, confused, maybe angry. What do you mean, should not be grieved for? I'm about to kill my family. That's the definition of grief. But Krishna was about to teach him something that would shatter everything Arjuna thought he knew about life, death, and who he actually was. There was never a time when I did not exist. There was never a time when you did not exist. Nor these warriors. And there will never be a time when any of us cease to be. Arjuna felt his breath catch. This wasn't philosophy. This was everything dissolving. Stop for a second. Let that land. Krishna just said something impossible. You have always existed. You will always exist. Not your body, not your memories. Something deeper. Just as the soul moves through childhood, youth, and old age in this body, it moves into another body after death. Think about your own life. You were a child, then a teenager, now whoever you are today. Your body completely changed. Your thoughts changed. Your personality changed. But there's something in you that's been watching all of it. That observer never aged. Never changed. What is that? Who is that? Arjuna looked at his hands, his warrior's body, trained for decades, every muscle a weapon. This body had defined him his entire life. I am Arjuna the archer. But Krishna was saying, no, you are something else. This body is just temporary, a vehicle, not you. The soul casts off worn-out bodies and enters into new ones, just like a person removes old clothes and puts on new ones. It's the most beautiful and terrifying metaphor ever spoken. Your body, this thing you spend your entire life identifying with, is just clothing. Temporary, replaceable, not you. Arjuna's crisis just got worse. Before, he was afraid of killing people. Now he's being told those people aren't even who he thinks they are, and he isn't who he thinks he is either. Have you ever had your identity challenged like this when someone says you're not what you think you are? When the labels you've worn your whole life start to feel like lies, weapons cannot cut it, fire cannot burn it, water cannot wet it, wind cannot dry it. Listen to what Krishna is saying. There is something in you that is absolutely indestructible. Not metaphorically, literally. Just sit with that. Everything that can hurt you, destroy you, kill you, it can only touch the surface. It can never reach what you actually are. Let that truth land. It is unborn, eternal, permanent, and primordial. It is not slain when the body is slain. This is the part that breaks your mind. You think death is the end, but Krishna is saying there is no death. Not for what you really are, only the costume changes. Arjuna's mind was breaking. Not from despair this time. From impossibility. How can something exist that was never born and will never die? How can I be that? I feel born. I will feel death. But there's something in you right now that knows exactly what Krishna means. That observer, that witness, that thing that's been watching your whole life unfold, it's watching you read these words right now. Krishna waited. He wasn't trying to convince Arjuna. You can't convince someone of what they are. You can only point, guide, wait for the recognition. Like trying to show someone they're dreaming while they're still in the dream. The proof isn't in words, it's in direct seeing. The armies waited. Time itself seemed to pause. Because what was happening in that chariot was bigger than war. It was the question every human being asks when they're lying awake at 3 in the morning. Who am I really? What happens when I die? Is there anything in me that survives? Arjuna's mind raced. Wait, if the self never dies, if everyone I'm fighting is eternal, if my arrows can't actually kill anyone, then what's the problem? Why was I grieving? If nothing can be destroyed, then war doesn't matter, right? And there it is, the trap every spiritual seeker falls into. Because pain is real, suffering is real, death is real. The self might be eternal, but the person experiencing loss is real. Your tears are real, your grief is real. This is the paradox Krishna is teaching. You are both the eternal witness and the temporary human. Both truths exist simultaneously. Denying either one is a lie. This is what most spiritual teachings get wrong. Krishna's eyes held both truths. Yes, you are eternal. And yes, this moment matters. Yes, death is an illusion. And yes, grief is real. This isn't contradiction. It's the full picture. Most philosophy gives you half the truth. Either nothing matters or everything matters. Krishna says both. And here's why that matters for your life. You're infinite, and you're human. Denying either one isn't wisdom, it's escape. This is what makes life so hard, and so beautiful. Arjuna's confusion changed. Before he was confused about what to do, now he was confused about who was doing it. If I'm not Arjuna the warrior, then who acts? If the self is just a witness, who fights this war? Who makes the choice? This is the question that will carry through the entire Gita. Who are you, really? And from that place, what do? You are not the body, but you are in the body. You are not the mind, but you think. You are not the warrior, but you hold the bow. This is what it means to be human. To be the eternal, pretending to be temporary. The infinite wearing the costume of the finite. And the war, the choice, the crisis, it all happens in that space between. Therefore, knowing the self to be eternal, you should not grieve. But Krishna didn't say, therefore do nothing. He said, know what you are, then act anyway. Feel the grief, and act anyway. Understand death is an illusion, and take it seriously anyway. This isn't spiritual bypass. It's spiritual maturity. Arjuna looked down at the Gandiva, the bow that had defined him. Before, he held it as Arjuna the archer. But now he was beginning to understand. Maybe he could hold it as something else. As the witness who chooses to participate. The eternal that acts through the temporary. But he wasn't there yet. The dialogue continued. The war waited. And somewhere in that conversation, a truth was being revealed that would echo across centuries. You are not what you think you are. You are so much more. And also, paradoxically, so much less. The person you've been protecting, defending, building your whole life, that's not you. So what dies when you die? Krishna smiled, not mockery. Recognition. He had seen this confusion in every soul that ever lived. The moment when you realize you don't know who you are. Most people run from that moment. Build walls, create distractions, double down on the identity. But Arjuna couldn't run. He was trapped in a chariot between two armies with a god teaching him the truth. 200,000 warriors waiting. not knowing that in that chariot their entire concept of reality was being dismantled, not knowing that the conversation happening between those two men would travel 5,000 years into the future. To reach you. Yes, you. Sitting wherever you are, facing whatever impossible choice you're facing. Asking the same question Arjuna asked.